Born on November 30, 1874, in Blenheim Palace, England, Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill entered the world destined for greatness, though few at the time could have imagined the colossal mark he would leave on history. The son of Lord Randolph Churchill, a prominent conservative politician, and Jenny Jerome, an American socialite, Winston was born into aristocracy but endured a somewhat distant and emotionally cold childhood. Sent away to boarding schools from an early age, Churchill struggled academically and was often viewed as rebellious, yet he displayed early signs of fierce independence and a vivid imagination. His poor grades led him to a military path rather than academia, and after multiple attempts, he was accepted into the Royal Military College at Sandhurst, where he graduated 8th in his class. This began a life of action, adventure, and ambition. He saw active service in British imperial campaigns in Cuba, India, Sudan, and South Africa, all while working as a war correspondent. His daring escape from a Boer prison camp in South Africa at age 25 turned him into a national hero and launched his political career. Elected as a Member of Parliament in 1900, Churchill quickly gained attention for his sharp wit, powerful oratory, and fiercely independent views. He switched political parties twice, first from conservative to liberal and later back to conservative, always following what he believed was right, even when unpopular. As a young statesman, he held numerous cabinet positions, including First Lord of the Admiralty during World War I. However, the disastrous Gallipoli campaign in 1915, which he had championed, led to his resignation and a temporary political exile. Never one to retreat from adversity, Churchill served on the Western Front for a time before gradually reclaiming his political influence. During the interwar years, he became a voice in the wilderness, warning Parliament and the British people of the growing threat posed by Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany. Many dismissed him as outdated, even alarmist, but Churchill saw the storm on the horizon with chilling clarity. When World War II erupted in 1939, his foresight and resolve could no longer be ignored. On May 10, 1940, as Nazi forces swept across Europe, Churchill was appointed Prime Minister after Neville Chamberlain's resignation, and in the darkest hour of Britain's survival, he rallied the nation with words that would echo through time. His speeches, "We shall fight on the beaches," "Their finest hour," and "Never surrender," unified a nation under siege and inspired the free world. His defiance in the face of fascism, along with his leadership through the Blitz and the Battle of Britain, helped keep the flame of democracy alive. His relationship with U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt was instrumental in securing aid through the Lend-Lease Act and later forging the Allied war strategy. At critical wartime conferences in Tehran and Yalta, Churchill negotiated with Roosevelt and Stalin, always fighting to protect Britain's global interests while navigating the complex chessboard of Allied diplomacy. But the war took its toll. Though hailed as a hero in 1945, Churchill's Conservative Party lost the general election in a landslide, replaced by the Labour Party under Clement Attlee. The irony was bitter. The man who had won the war was turned out of office just as peace was restored. Still, Churchill remained active, writing, painting, and delivering powerful speeches. In 1951, he was re-elected Prime Minister and served until 1955. His second term marked more by statesmanship and Cold War concerns than the fiery urgency of war. By now in his 80s, his health was declining, but his voice remained strong. In a 1946 speech in Fulton, Missouri, Churchill had already coined the term Iron Curtain, warning of Soviet expansion and ushering in the Cold War mindset. For many, he was not just a British leader but a global statesman whose insights shaped the post-war world. Awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1953 for his 6-volume memoirs of the Second World War and other writings, Churchill was not just a man of politics and war but of letters, possessing a lyrical command of the English language matched by few. He was also an accomplished painter, often retreating to his easel for solace and clarity. Despite political triumphs, Churchill's personal life had shadows. His marriage to Clementine Hozier was long and supportive, but he was emotionally distant from his children, and his heavy drinking and depression, what he called his black dog, followed him throughout life. As he aged, Churchill gradually withdrew from public life. In 1963, he became the first honorary U.S. citizen, recognized by President John F. Kennedy for his leadership during humanity's darkest times. He suffered several strokes in his later years, the final one in January 1965, leaving him bedridden. On January 24, 1965, exactly 70 years after the death of his father, Winston Churchill passed away at the age of 90. The United Kingdom declared a national day of mourning. His state funeral, attended by world leaders and watched by millions, was one of the largest in British history. He was laid to rest at St. Martin's Church in Blenheim, near his birthplace at Blenheim Palace. His legacy endures not only as Britain's greatest wartime leader, but as a symbol of courage, resilience, and the enduring power of words. Churchill was not without flaws. He was stubborn, occasionally reckless, and held imperialist views that today are subject to criticism, but few figures have shaped the course of world history as profoundly. He guided his nation through catastrophe, lifted spirits with his eloquence, and refused to surrender even when defeat seemed certain. Winston Churchill remains not just a towering British icon but a global legend, proof that leadership, vision, and resolve can turn the tide of history.